People deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning back in each and every time. I appreciate everyone who's locked in. Now, you know me, I like to look at the players who are playing their futures away from Arsenal in terms of our young players and how they're doing on loan. You know, again, I like to see, or I think I like to see, obviously, by watching them on a regular basis or trying to in their temporary homes, try and get a gauge for what player they're becoming, which kind of level they're currently at, their ceiling or potential ceiling as to what they could be in the future. And provided, you know, the likes of Saliba, Tyreese John-Jules, somehow Matteo Guendouzi, all of these sort of guys, if they come back and are in and around the first team, what sort of basis are we working with? And obviously, I think if you watch them or watch all of these players, it's a fantastic insight into journeys. You know, some people's loans are starting, you know, good, and then they're kind of going down. Certain people are starting off badly and then they're going to go up. They're all trying to develop that consistency, and I think they're all having the healthy amount of trials and tribulations. So yeah, if I share my Google Doc sheet, as I typically keep these notes on with you guys, people, yeah, you lot can see visually what I'm talking about, provided it works. And here we have it. So yeah, scrolling back up, and I hope you appreciate the pictures just to kind of reference point. Obviously, William Saliba. Now, at the time of making this video, people, he's about to, I actually haven't seen the lineup, so I don't know, but Marseille are playing Galatasaray. So again, provided he is in the lineup, in fact, I can do one better and actually check and see if he is being initially named in the lineup for this Galatasaray game. But yeah, he's playing in the Europa League today, folks. In fact, yeah, he is starting today. So he'll be playing against Galatasaray, actually be playing in a back four, which he has done at Marseille, but he's primarily played in a back three. But in relation to the games I've watched of him, obviously I'll catch that one on the rebound on the next edition. You know, 2-0 against Rennes. I think 1 minute in my notes, as it says here, you know, from minute to 1 to around 15-ish, you know, he didn't do much. You know, he had good spells of good passes, but really there's nothing of significant to report on. And really, I'm not getting wowed by Saliba's passing, in the sense of I believe so much in Saliba. I think people need to temper their expectations. I feel even if he returns to Arsenal, he's going to be 21 years of age, you know, unless you're, you know, these Mbappe sort of players. It's not good. You're not going to be that guy at 21. He's got potential. There's a lot of things he has to work in, and I think we'll get down into the Lens game in a second. But I like what I see from him. That being said, I'm not looking at his passing. I know he's good on the ball. I see it. That's a standout attribute. We don't need to keep talking about it. I'm looking about how he marks, how he communicates. You know, the positions he takes up both on the pitch and how he positions his body and whatnot. You know, there's a lot of things he needs to work on. But as I said, it's nothing out of the ordinary. I did think there was a couple of shaky moments when he was dragged out into the channels. Not quite Pablo Mari against Chelsea, but there was elements of that. I felt him and his right back could have done a bit more to communicate and stop that cross coming in. I did think there was kind of a Ben White moment where he played one sloppy pass behind and it almost was picked apart, but it didn't happen. So yeah, against Lens, obviously they lost, and I can't lie, people. Again, I really should have I apologize for it not being as clean as it could be. Again, you can see these are my notes live in real time. But I did feel he had a hand to play in at least two of the goals. Now, the I believe the third one, I wouldn't directly blame him. It says culmination of errors. The cross isn't being stopped. But as you know, as a defender, you have to be able to watch the ball and the man. Him and the man to the inside of him, they haven't picked up on the striker's run. He's checked in and out. He's made a run for them and a run for the ball. They're caught ball watching. They don't stop his run. Obviously, as a striker, you need to read that. Centre half, sorry, you need to read that. If you get there, if you know, that could save you. You could read that. You could put him off. But he's got a clear run at goal. The cross has come in. He's made sure it's gone into the back of the net. I felt Saliba could do better. Obviously, I'm primarily focused on Saliba's actions when I'm watching Marseille. You know, Payet was back to his best, but I'm primarily watching Saliba because, you know, he's got a future at Arsenal. So I'm primarily looking at what he needs to do better. So I felt there was that. I did feel in the first goal, in the first 5 or 7 minutes or so, the penalty is not his fault, but he's put his teammate in it. It's a bit of a nonchalance pass in his own area into the inside, and then someone's tried to latch up on it, and his teammates conceded a penalty. So I think Saliba needs to do a bit better there. Much like all our centre halves are still developing in general, but obviously, if you do that in the Premier League, that costs you 3 points. Now, obviously, if you did that against Spurs, for example, we might not win that game and it might not be 9 points. So there's a lot the man needs to developing. This is why I understand him going out on loan, because he is having a good loan spell. He is doing what he needs to do. He does make his presence felt when he attacks corners, and I like that about him. He does need to refine himself in the air, considering he's 6'4" or so. I do think he could do defensively better in the air and in terms of an attacking sense, because, you know, he's a present from corners. He tries to get in there. Sometimes he always finds himself in little goal scoring opportunities, mind you. So yeah, man, as I said, needs to start following the runners. He didn't play against Angers, neither did Guendouzi. They were on the bench. Matteo's obviously been called up to the France squad. Again, I'm not really watching Matteo. I know it's come out that Marseille are not really happy with him, but generally I am liking what I'm seeing from the Frenchman, but he looks like he's gone from Arsenal, innit? Now, Mikel Aziz, again, we need to temper our expectations with the guy. Again, I talked about trials and tribulations. Since he's been exposed to the first team or first team environment, I think it's set up for him. He's gone to Portsmouth. He's under Crowley, who worked with Emil Smith-Rowe. Hasn't quite gone to plan in terms of minutes. He's been on the bench a couple of times. He's only played one game, and he's currently out or faces being out for a second people with a groin problem, and he's only played 59 minutes so far against Cambridge, which he didn't really do much as well. It was quite underwhelming. Now he needs to be out of his comfort zone. I'd rather him play like that or have this sort of thing, then you would be playing under 23s and doing a madness and playing well. This is the real world. This is you as a centre mid out your comfort zone. So I have no problems with Miguel Aziz. I think he'll come back a stronger player. Whether he'll be ready for the first team, I don't know. But yeah, he hasn't been able to play really. But hopefully first and foremost he gets over his injury and we can talk about him. Now Tyreese John-Jules is sadly still chasing his first Blackpool goal. I do think he's doing everything else well. Like he's starting to build up a real understanding with his fellow forwards, and he's played on the flanks there, he's played up front, he's played in the 10 where he did really well. I think once he gets that goal, there's something there. And personally, I think he's one of them. If he was in and around the first team right now, it'd probably be better for him than going out on loan. But yeah, he's doing all right in terms of the championship. Again, needs to score that goal, needs to make it like, whenever people talking about Blackpool, they said, have you seen that Tyreese John-Jules fellow? He's on loan at Arsenal. That's what he's doing. So yeah, man, still trying to complete 90 minutes, but he's doing all right, man. Obviously, he played in the one in I don't know why it says 1-1 there. Apologies, people. That's the notes from the previous loan report we did. But yeah, he was involved when they beat Fulham. He was involved against Huddersfield again. I think he had an impactful first half against Huddersfield in the 3-0 defeat. I think he was a bit quiet in the second half. He played He played in the victory against Middlesbrough. He got 71 odd minutes. I did feel against Barnsley, offered himself around in the minutes he played. I think he did miss a good opportunity to score. So I think he's working hard. I think it will fall into place. As you know, I'm a big fan of Tyreese John-Jules, but yeah, man, he just needs probably a bit of luck. And again, as I say all the time, as much as I happy for him to go out on loan and play at Blackpool, I do think, his physique and physical qualities go against him because he's a very cultured player. He can do the 1-2s and things like that. But again, it's like people just want to, punch it into his neck and things like that. And again, that's not what he left Arsenal's academy learning and them things. But yeah, so far so good. Matt Smith, I don't really think he set the world alight at Doncaster. He actually lost 6-0. They actually lost 6-0 against Ipswich. Terrible game for everyone. He played 78 odd minutes, and quite frankly, everyone across every area, as you would expect someone that lost 6-0, they all got bullied. He played against Plymouth as well. It looked like he played attacking mid or played as a attacking mid or played slightly further forward / this false nine thing and the striker thing, and it didn't really work, did it really, as they lost against Morecambe. I felt he was fairly tidy on the ball. He recycled the ball well on occasion. I did think he went to sleep defensively a lot of times, if I'm honest with you. He got into good areas against Wigan, as you can see here, but he did nothing of note as he got 78 minutes in their 2-1 L. So it is what it is. Now, Harry Clarke, again, he's doing all right out there in Scotland. See him play centre half. He played against Celtic. Bad day at the office for everyone. It was a good occasion. It was a good occasion as they lost 3-0. So it's a good occasion for him to learn from and ultimately being a good education. I felt the whole back line was completely disjointed. Like, I felt Celtic were presented them goals. Is it Cameron Carter-Vickers? He scored a bit of a freak goal. Marking off the ball has to improve for the whole of Ross County, and it also needs to improve, obviously, for Clarke. Now, Osei Tutu, sadly, when you mention him, he's been plagued kind of with injuries. He's still nursing a hamstring injury. He had 3 such issues at Cardiff, so yeah, minutes are, there's nothing really to say. Hopefully he gets over them. Didn't have access to watch this game for Moller, but apparently he got 59 minutes over it for his team in the German second division as they lost 3-2 against Hoffenheim in extra time of the German Cup. Now, Daniel Ballard's had a good, he's getting called up to national teams. He's doing quite well for Millwall, and he scored a dramatic goal, I believe, as well against West Brom. As you lot can see here, I think against Bristol in their 1-0 victory, he was calm, collected, composed. He did the basics well, which is what you want from a centre-half. Against Forest, lovely passing range. He hit one lovely diag in the build-up to the opener. I think he showed a couple of good passes. I think there was a bit of a free cross for the Forest goal. If I'm honest with you, against Coventry, there was drama throughout. I think I don't think he marked his man well enough, and I think he needs to be touch tight, watching the ball often, and not the man. So there's still an education for him to do, but fundamentally, that's what you're there for. You're in the Championship, you're learning hard lessons, and he's getting 90 minutes, and he's, like at Blackpool, he's part of a defensively looking solid unit from what I can see. I don't know if statistics back that. Against Swansea, it was 0-0. I did think he had a bit of a tough time. He looked like he was beaten too easily, didn't know when to cover, didn't know when to tackle. You're going to have bad games like that. And I feel Swansea probably feel they should have won that game generally. Against West Bromwich Albion, he got 90 minutes. I think there was a good tempo to the game, people. I think all their players need to remember to be switched on. He scored a looping header from the far post, people. It was good, good strength. He's come back to the back post. He's looped it back, send it kind of where it's come from. It's a good header. And it was a dramatic equaliser. And that's what football's about. And he ultimately, other than that, had a decent game. Now, Mavropanos is all but a Stuttgart player. And again, I think it's probably right to get rid of him. Against VfL Bochum, he got 85 minutes and playing as a fullback. Against Leverkusen, he was at fault for their third goal. Shout out to Wirtz. He's a good player and he looks like he's going to be leaving Bayern Leverkusen in a couple of years and going to Bayern Munich. But I think for the third goal, you can't lose the ball, especially when you're in that defensive area. He lost the ball in the build-up to the third goal, people. He lost it. You're kind of the last man. You can't afford to. I did feel a poor header from him led to one of their goals as well. Keeper saved exactly, but the rebound was tapped in. I don't think, apart from that, he was directly involved in the other goals per se, but it was a long day at the office, really. And like you can see here, Wirtz won't be at Bayern Leverkusen long. I did think it was terrible collectively defending. I think once again, Mavropanos throughout the whole game, from what I could see, he doesn't really read runs well enough, and he kind of struggles when he gets into those areas. He goes through spells of games. He's one of them, like they have like a 5-minute spell or something where they're really on focus and it doesn't give you confidence. Now, I didn't watch Desai play, but he made his debut for Carlisle in a 2-0 victory against Everton's under-21s, people. From what you could see, he looked like he was comfortable with his passing, looked like he marked well and tackled well when he needed to, and he didn't look like he was troubled beyond what Everton posed to the whole team. Now, elsewhere, Nelson's back in training for Feyenoord. He hasn't been rested yet, so there's nothing of note to say about him. Torreira, again, I'm not watching him, but he got 83 minutes against Udinese. He got 65 against Inter Milan, and he also got 66 minutes against Atalanta. So hopefully he's showing Fiorentina enough for them to buy him permanently. 3 appearances, people, from a possible 5. He was benched against Genoa and Torino. Now, Hector Bellerin, again, he's played 3 times for Manuel Pellegrini's side. He's got 1 assist, which obviously was for Fekir against Espanyol. He got 90 minutes against Osasuna. He got 90 minutes against Granada, and he got 90 minutes against Getafe. So hopefully he's also done enough to convince Betis to confirm his signing permanently, because again, a couple of those players that are on the cusp of the Arsenal team are contracted until 2023, so a decision has to be made. But in relation to that, people, that's all I've got to say. I apologize for the late timing of such. Obviously, I'm gonna keep doing this just so I can offer my opinions and whatnot, just based on what I've seen from the players. But yeah, man, that's all there is to say, man. Enjoy what's left of your day, morning, evening, night, and yeah, man, I'll speak to you lot soon.
Because always was that active red line defending.
I think it's like